Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
The Jackson County Fair Board, in conjunction with Total Media, proudly present Neil McCoy. Neil McCoy. Saturday, July 15th at the Jackson County Fair. VIP track access seats now available for only $30, which includes admission to the fair. Get tickets now at JacksonCooHfair.com or at the Total Media Studios in Jackson.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show on Main Street TV, where it is, well, Tuesday. Normally, we do the morning news updates on Monday, but we had a really cool guest yesterday to talk about all things women's health.
Okay. Anytime you have somebody in a white coat, we need to listen to them.
Yes. Anyone from Holzer walks through the door, we need to listen. They're very important. And we talked about a lot of really good subjects yesterday when it comes to women's health. And I hope you all got to tune in. If not, you can watch the replay and find out some of the stuff.
Well, prevention is always a better alternative than treatment, right?
100%. And, we discussed this yesterday that we women tend to, you want to care for everyone else and you don't sometimes put yourself first, and you need to do that. So do those yearly exams and all of that at the minimum.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, it is Tuesday. So here we are with a morning news update. And I have two handsome fellas in the studio this morning. So you guys are full of it.
Okay. Are you talking about Jeremiah and I, or are you talking about Dylan and James?
I mean, all of you. There's four handsome fellas in the studio.
You said two. You said two, though.
Right here at the desk.
Oh, okay. All right.
The other two handsome fellas are over there, across from the desk.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we are, as you know, we're in the middle of the late May run.
Oh, my gosh.
Which means a whole lot of
Craziness.
stuff going on, especially centered on the schools, of course. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about. Barbara's here. How about that? Thank you, Barbara.
Love you, Barbara.
We do love Barbara. Absolutely. But we had two graduations last Friday evening. And,
yes.
The graduation, I know they happen every year, and some people who are not involved, maybe could care less. But this is a big thing for every community.
Man, it's huge.
It is a rite of passage.
It is.
Now, I have to go way back to 1973. You have to go back to whatever. I'll let you fill in the blank.
A few years.
But it is a major rite of passage. You feel like when you're graduating high school, I know it can be different for individuals. You're not a kid anymore. You realize that you're on that track.
You're right.
No matter what you do about it or don't do about it, you are no longer a kid.
You're not, yeah.
I always thought, well, I'll go to college and put that adult stuff off for another 4 years or whatever. But even then, that doesn't really fly.
Not quite the same, because you have to adult a lot in college.
Right. Exactly. Everything changes. It gets harder. You're paying for your education and all like that, and it just gets a little stickier.
It does. And
relationships and everything, But
do you guys remember your graduation days? Like, I remember I forget who I was talking to. I just remember like it was yesterday. Like I think I was talking with John. I was like, I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but I can remember that whole week.
Oh yeah, I mean it's
a whirlwind.
It's all very vivid for sure, and it takes a while to accept that you're not in high school anymore. I mean you know it, but it's just that's like falling off a cliff almost.
And the one thing I will say that I can remember striking me so much was there are people that you have spent nearly your entire life with. Every day growing up, there's many people that I started kindergarten with that, you went all the way through school, and it kind of hits you that day like, man, we're all branching off. Like we're not necessarily all going to see each other all the time anymore. This is hard.
You're sitting there, you're throwing those caps in the air, and you realize that some of those people you may never see again.
Literally may never see again.
That you see every day. So, that's a really a surreal thing.
We're probably freaking poor Dylan out.
But
Dylan's like, what is happening right now?
Right. And sometimes, the way you feel on graduation day is not the way you feel a little bit later.
Correct.
Because it's mixed emotions. If some people are glad to get out, some people are afraid to get out, and the whole 9 yards. It's a big run the gamut of emotions there.
Funniest thing that happened at our graduation, besides the birds pooping on everybody's head, because our speaker released doves.
Oh, okay.
And they just went to the first power line they could find and sat on it. And it was outside in the middle school, now the middle school, and the birds pooped on everyone's heads. Anyway, it wasn't the event that I think that they thought it was going to be.
It's memorable though, right?
Yes, very memorable. But we had this young lady that was in our class that graduated, and she was, shall we say, a kind of a wallflower, very, very quiet, never, got into trouble, very innocent. And she didn't show up to graduation because she eloped that day. And we were all like, what?
Is that a good excuse? I guess it would be, right?
We were like,
for her, it was.
Is that really a thing? Anyway, that was my funny graduation story.
That was good.
Everyone was in complete denial and shock over that one.
Oh my. Okay. There's always something like that you remember. But last Friday, we had the graduation for Vinton County High School.
Yes.
And we also had the graduation for Oak Hill High School.
Yes.
That is why Jeremiah is here. He covered the Oak Hill graduation. And a program note for the Telegram. In Wednesday's paper, we have a big 2-page color spiel on the Vinton County graduation. Red Thompson Jr. Covered that very well. And that is a nice keepsake scrapbook type item, quality, we think. A lot of pictures, a list of all the graduates, a coverage of the graduation event, including what the graduates said. Jeremiah Shaver doing the same thing down at Oak Hill that same evening. Jackson and Wellston, of course, are on deck Friday night for their graduations.
Dylan.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It's big time for him. I know we've kind of setting him up by the way we're talking, but the Oak Hill coverage will be on Saturday. So we have all this is sponsored by advertising. We want to spread it out to maximize, to not only give our reporters time to write the stuff and do all the photos and like that, but to also have so the advertising is spread out too. So for the next 4 issues, including the one tomorrow, will be Vinton County, Oak Hill, Jackson, and Wellston in that order. And expansive coverage of graduation with photos and news coverage and lists of the graduates, the whole 9 yards. The graphics people get into it. They do a nice layout for us and like that. So Jeremiah, I've got a stack of stuff, but Jeremiah has a whole bunch of work to do. I know because we've talked about it. I'm going to let him go first and talk about the Oak Hill graduation. Dylan will put up some pictures. Many of these you will probably see in print in Saturday's edition.
Awesome.
Thank you, Pete. So it was the 124th class of graduates at Oak Hill High School that walked across the stage there in Davis Stadium. In years past, it's been held at 7 o'clock, and it was pushed back to 8 o'clock this year. So a little bit of a difference in time.
Had some kids participating in some sporting events, right?
Yes, and I will say that I'm pretty sure even though they pushed it back, some of those kids still showed up, and it was going on as they. So I was sitting there, and this like golf cart. Real quick story: golf cart comes across the field. And 2 graduates got off this golf cart, and I'm going to assume that they were with the track, even though they had that later start time. So, but they made it, in time.
Good.
I think one of them may have been a valedictorian. Even.
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100%, but anyhow. So the ceremony was held on Friday, May 19th, and there were 95 graduates that received diplomas this year. Mm-hmm. We've mentioned this before, but we'll go through the list of the valedictorians. There was 11 this year. You had Holly Bogger, Garrett Brown, Abby Donnelly, Aiden Hall, Abigail Hannon, Jordan Howard. It's Elizabeth Page Hughes, Katie Johnson, Amelia Michael, Reagan Michael, and Ryland Sams were the valedictorians, and they had one salutatorian, and it was Michaela Dirth. And each one of those students, their top-ranking students, and they delivered speeches at the podium, and Dylan's just kind of been clicking through the students there. And each of them kind of, they thanked their family and teachers and congratulated their fellow classmates. And each of them kind of talked about obstacles that they had to overcome, throughout their high school career, etc. And there was something I wanted to note here, if I can find it. So this was kind of a inside joke of sorts. If I can find my notes. Here we go. The students carried out a inside farewell joke on Oak Hill High School principal Randy Layton. So he's retiring this year.
Yes.
And as each of the students, I think I had a picture of this in there somewhere, as each of the students came across the stage, they handed Mr. Layton a fishing bobber. And it was kind of an inside joke because, he's retiring, so he's going to have more opportunity.
More time for fishing, huh?
And he even told me that in a recent interview because there's a story I'm working on about the change of leadership there in Oak Hill because he's retiring. And the middle school principal, Whitney Crabtree, is moving up to the high school position. And then we have a newcomer. Yeah, there you go. There's a picture of one of the seniors handing him a bobber. But by the time he got done, he had
a lot of bobbers.
Had a lot of bobbers in his suit pocket there, Jim. But most of them were just little ones. So he said, "I'll probably never have to buy another bobber the rest of my life." But there was one student. I wish I would have got a better picture. But by that point, it was dark and the students were kind of moving fast, so they got a little blurry. But there was one student that handed him one of the longer bobbers, and he just laughed. So it was kind of funny to watch as they went through there. But there was some other pictures I'm sure Dylan's put up there. You had there's Mr. Layton speaking and welcoming everybody. There's the superintendent, that's Oak Hill School District, the superintendent there, Jason Mantell, addressing the seniors. And during his little welcome, he kind of issued 2 apologies to the class of 2023. He started off, he said, "My first apology is that we only used 1 snow day your senior year. I'm sorry." And,
that's no fun.
And on a second, more serious note, he apologized for not getting to know each of the graduating class members there. It was his first year there in the school district, and he did have communication with some and interacted with others. But he said it was a fantastic year and he appreciated everything that class had done. And Mr. Mantell also told him he asked the group to do 3 things going forward. He said the first was that the students take positive advantage of every opportunity provided to them. Second was to not take time for granted and to embrace the time that they have. And the final thing he said was to show appreciation towards those who have showed them support. And he told them that no matter where they go, whether they stay there or, go somewhere else, that Oak Hill will always be their home.
Aw.
So
so good.
There was that. And there's a photo of the choir during the commencement. I think we had a photo of the band there too. And they did the processional and some of the other music for the production, and then we capped everything off with that traditional cap toss into the air, the celebration of the completion of high school there. So
very good.
We have a nice lengthy story. It's it's 3 pages and a little bit. So look forward to that in Saturday's edition.
That's
of
awesome.
The Telegram.
Right, and we'll be, as always, posting our stories online and often in advance of the print edition. In this case, we hope to do that since we were waiting on Saturday for the print edition to stretch them out.
Of
right.
course.
We have a little kind of a short recap of graduation with that hat toss picture that Dylan just put up already on the website, kind of going over a little of the details. So we do have that.
Very good. Well, thank you, Jeremiah.
Yep.
That's so sweet.
I plan to put up a photo gallery with the story online once we get that out
Okay, cool.
as well. So,
Very good.
all right, I'm gonna take my leave.
All right,
All right.
you are dismissed.
All right. Thank you very
Pete
much.
and I will hold down the fort.
Jeremiah.
How's that?
All right. Well, about let's see, 30 miles to the north, in MacArthur,
Yes.
we have the Vinton County High School graduation going on. The class of 2023, as Red Thompson writes, the headline marches into history.
Aw.
And Dylan is gonna put up some photos as I talk about the graduation. Here are some of the graduates coming in. The males in the deep red robes, the females in the white robes, made for a nice contrast. I think about 150 plus graduates there at Vinton County
Wow.
High School. Pretty good sized graduating class there. And as always, all of the graduating programs or commencement ceremonies locally, they don't have a guest speaker anymore. They feature. You know, it takes a while to hand out the diplomas anyway, but they feature the speeches of the top students, whether they're called valedictorians, top of the class,
Sure.
whatever. But at Vinton County, here are the top of the class people, and they're all females, all girls. They're from left to right. You have Superintendent Rick Brooks. He is on the left. Then you have salutatorian Lindsay Riddle. Then you have valedictorian Karis Cottle and valedictorian Trista Dunn. And on the end, you have Jackson resident and Vinton County High School principal J.J. Milliken. And they had it was an outdoor ceremony in Vinton County as well. They have it in the football field there. They call it the Viking Athletic Complex. The Vinton County Gym, it's new, of course, built in 2000, but it's not as large as some of the others. And so for the last several years, they've been doing it outside on the football field. Of course, the risk you always take, weather.
Yes.
But, they were able to get it in. There was a threat of rain later in the evening. It never came. Oak Hill, who started late, I'm sure they were watching their cell phones too.
For sure.
But they, as Jeremiah said, they were able to get in their ceremony to unscathed. And by the way, the forecast for this weekend is favorable for the Jackson and Wellston graduation. Now, Wellston's graduation ceremony is indoors, but Jackson's, of course, is outdoors.
Always outdoors.
At
Yep.
Alumni Stadium. But some of the other things we can tell you about the Vinton County graduation ceremony. Once again, this coverage will be in Wednesday's edition. We already have it online if
Okay.
you want to check it out. In addition, we have some academic information, scholarships, and some of the pictures of the academic award winners. So a lot in Wednesday's print edition already online on the Vinton County graduation. This is kind of a maroon colored paper for us
Yes.
that's coming up. But each of the young ladies, the honor students, had nice speeches, short but nice speeches. Of course, a lot of thank yous. They're very grateful because they know they had support. But they also offered some advice and some quotes. I'm going to share those with you because we can all use some inspiration, right? Trista
course.
Dunn, the valedictorian, quoted Dr. Seuss. We've heard this one before, but it's such a good one. Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. You know, that is kind of like turning it around and not having regrets or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was, she passed on that Dr. Seuss quote. Karis Cottle quoted Winston Churchill. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Don't strive for perfection. Strive for improvement in everything that you do in your future. So that's obviously good advice to any graduate, any person embarking on something new. Lindsay Riddle quoted Walt Disney. All dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them.
Love it.
Yeah, I like Albert Camus. I believe got that name right. He was a writer. I've got one of his quotes on my dining room wall. It says, it's Henry David Thoreau. If you build castles in the air, that's okay. Now put walls around them.
Uh-huh.
So it's all right to dream. You just have to work after you dream.
That's right.
But Dylan, if you want to put up any other pictures there from the Vinton County graduation, that is the choir under Joy Henderson. She turned around there with the blonde hair. She's the director of the choirs and also the drama, the Viking Players. The band also performed there. That is on the left. You see Sam Kugel, folks down in the Jackson area know Sam very well. Just kind of like an aside, we saw Brittany Ruth, a picture of her. She's the choir director at Oak Hill. Well, her and Sam Cool are engaged.
Oh, really?
So how
I
about
didn't
that?
know
A
that.
musical romance
How
there.
fun.
So Sam is in his first year of directing the Vinton County High School Band. Of course, J.J. Milliken had some remarks as the principal. Superintendent Rick Brooks had some remarks. Jason Radeball. Jason Radeball, one of the board members, Mary Ann Hell, Cindy Strawhusball, Charlotte Newton, Misty Napier, all had the honor of handing out the diplomas. The board members did.
That's cool.
And Superintendent Rick Brooks quoted Vince Lombardi. I wonder if any of those kids know who Vince Lombardi is.
I don't know.
But he's a good person to emulate. Vince Lombardi said, "Hard work is the price of success, and these students are ready for the next chapter of their lives." That's good advice, too, because you just, there's nothing like hard work or time on task to achieve.
You're
You
right.
might be brilliant, you might have an inspiration, you might try to do things as efficiently as possible, but
Nothing comes easy.
Hard work, right, exactly. So 2 graduations down, 2 to go. And of course, all of them be covered in depth in the Telegram. All right, we'll switch to some other news now. This comes from the Vinton County Local School Board. They had a meeting recently, and the April and May meetings are always big for personnel getting ready for the next school year, people retiring, resigning because the end of the school year.
Sure.
But a couple of notable employments in Vinton County on the administrative side. Kim Arthur, who is the principal at Central Elementary School, she was hired to a new 3-year contract, and I presume that she will continue as the principal at Central Elementary School. Josh Kirkpatrick, who is the assistant principal at Vinton County High School. He is the lieutenant for J.J. Milliken. He's been at Vinton County for a while. You remember, maybe roll back to the fall, he was put in the Vinton County High School Athletic Hall of Fame because he is one of the best cross-country coaches around. By being the assistant principal, he was allowed to, stay with the coaching, which he loves.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Because, the superintendent principals, they have plenty to do. They don't need to be doing side gigs. But Josh Kirkpatrick's having the best of both worlds, being an administrator, a trusted administrator in Vinton County, but also getting to remain as the cross-country coach. All right. This is EMS week in Jackson County.
Okay.
The commissioners made a proclamation last week. I think I talked about that at the end of last week. But it's just more than a proclamation. There is activities going on all week in Jackson County involving, our Jackson County EMS. And remember, the commissioners use this every year to brag on our EMS system. Sometimes it's hard to fund. Sometimes it's hard to get talented people to work in a job like that.
Sure.
But Jackson County, in all honesty, since it went from SEAMS, we remember that, we date ourselves, it's been a while.
A few years ago.
It was a regional thing, and it kind of fell apart because counties started to withdraw because of some different problems, finances, and of course, as it got thinner, it got harder because, you didn't have, all the participation of those counties.
That's
as
right.
many as 7 at one time. Well, now everybody has a county system. And the Jackson County EMS, under the direction of Chris Johnson, has just been outstanding. The commissioners always make a point to say that, when they talk to commissioners in other counties, they're always talking about the travails, the problems of running an EMS system and getting it to work the way that you want it to, that important service. But it does seem to work very well in Jackson County. But some of the things that are going to go on this week, for instance, there is EMS for Children's Day, which will be going on one of the days this week. That is to put the focus on children and the fact that it is important to have your child safety seats and all those sorts of things
yes.
EMS gets involved in. Today is EMS Safety Day. Pizza and ice cream will be served to the JCEMS personnel.
Woohoo! That just woke everyone up.
There'll be a summer picnic on one of these days as well. That'll be a different day where they'll get treated. And then Friday, it's all the big conclusion is EMS Recognition Day, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That'll be at the University of Rio Grande's Jackson Center there on East Main Street, and I know that many of the EMS folks will get recognized, especially some of the top achievers and people maybe celebrating milestone employment. I mean, that has been the past practice. So the focus very much on our EMS folks who, quite frankly, even though it's very important, we know it's important, they work kind of behind the scenes. You don't hear much about them.
That's right.
But I tell you what, when you need them,
You need 'em.
You need them. Right, exactly. Yep. All right. We mentioned about the restoration of the tennis courts in Jackson at the Eddie Jones Park. We've got a picture or two to show you on what they're dealing with. Look at that one tennis net there at Eddie Jones Park. See how bad it's sagging?
You shouldn't have to mow your tennis court,
right,
Pete.
You've got weeds right under the net growing as well. Then on another end of the court, look at this. I don't know whether you can pick this up or not, but that is not cement that you see by that net. That is mud, dirt, and leaves. And how you could play on that court, I don't think you do. There's four courts there. I think if there's 3 courts busy, you're wondering if you're going to play on that fourth court.
I'm guessing no.
Well, there is a group, a private group that has formed, a community group to try to clean up the courts with the support of the city.
Yeah.
The city has already done some physical work to remove the poles, and they're going to put in the new poles when they get them. But they're not only cleaning up the courts to get them ready, so they're much more playable for not only tennis, but pickleball, which is the new craze in town, because a court can double as both tennis and pickleball. But they're going to actually raise the money for new poles and nets. Oh. And they promise that they'll maintain the courts. Of course, the challenge over there at those courts, and this is something that they really can't control, is it floods.
It does flood.
Not as bad as the ball fields do that you see from the road, but it does flood back there as well. And so their long-term goal, and I don't know what long-term is, but I know some of the people in this group, Kay Howe, Amanda Crabtree, H.D. Crabtree, they're pretty good folks. They're determined. They would like to raise the money for to get land or get land donated, whatever, and then have new tennis/pickleball courts in a better location.
Awesome.
That is not so prone to flooding. So that is something that will follow. We had a pretty detailed story in our last Saturday paper. It is posted online if you want to hear more about that. And another way to follow it is a new Facebook page that Amanda Crabtree has started called Jackson Rackets and Paddles. And they kind of got off to a rough start. They had 2 work sessions, both of them postponed by rain.
I know.
But then a small group of them actually got out there on Sunday
and
got some work done. So congratulations to them for their enterprise and what they're doing, not only for themselves, but really the entire community and the city. The city brass, Mayor Randy Evans and Service Director David Swackhammer really appreciates what they're doing, the initiative they're taking. It'd be very easy to say, well, why doesn't the city do something? They're taking it into their own hands in cooperation with the city.
Sure.
All right. Speaking of important facilities, the Vinton County Airport. At last week's meeting, the Vinton County Commissioners reviewed what is called the Airport Master Plan. Okay. That is something that you do. You have to have a plan in place so that when FFA money, that is Federal Aviation Administration, grant money is available, you can show that you're thinking about what needs done and you can make a case for it and maybe get some federal money.
Sure.
So that's what the Vinton County Commissioners talked about at one of their recent meetings. Some of the projects that they want to do when funding becomes available includes repaving the runway and removing some trees. Of course, trees very important for sight lines for pilots coming in and leaving. The tree removal project is very important. The commissioners are working with the Delta Airport Consulting Group to develop the plan. Of course, the Vinton County Airport is home to a major tourism event, the Vinton County Air Show.
That's right.
Which is held in mid-September every year.
Yep.
It not only shines the light on the airport and raises some money for the airport, it's technically free admission, but there is a parking fee.
Yep.
And I'll guarantee you, unless you're a marathon runner, you're probably driving to the Vinton County Airport because
I'm guessing
of course it's a little bit out of the way. So
and you get those chicken dinners along the way too.
You get the barbecued chicken dinners as well, and as many as 8,000 people have attended the show in the past.
It's huge.
I've been to one, but I had no idea there were that many people there.
Yep.
All right, a nice event that occurred last week down at Jackson High School, and this was a collaborative thing with the Jackson Rotary Club and their student group, which is called Interact.
Okay.
They dedicated a peace pole down there in the courtyard. There it is, right there. That is some of the Rotarians and some of the Interact people from the left to right, because these people deserve credit for what they're doing. That is Rotarian Tricia Miller and Roger Donaldson. Then you have Jackson School Board member and Rotarian Kim Harless, Rotarian April Eifler, Aaron Daly, and Margaret Cochran. Then you have Interact President Jade Winters, Jackson City School Superintendent and Rotarian, he's both, Phil Howard, Interact Vice President Drew Wiley, and then on the end, of course, our friend Rotarian Amanda Crabtree. And the peace pole is a symbol that underscores a club's commitment to peace and promoting peace, not only worldwide, but at home. And, you know, when all the Rotary clubs get together do it, not all of them do. You have to be designated a peace building club. You have to jump through some hoops to get a peace pole. I remember the Wellston Rotary Club dedicated a peace pole, 8-10 years ago, something like that.
Awesome.
I suppose it's still there in Pride Park. But on that, this is a larger group picture that I took. It includes not only the Rotarians, but all the Interact members. There are about 35 Interact members at Jackson High School.
Cool.
That do good deeds like the Rotary does at the student level.
Yeah.
And the hope is that they will maybe continue as Rotarians when they get out of school and continue to do good things. They raise money for the fight against polio, trying to eradicate polio totally from the earth. And they also do what they call acts of kindness, where they go out of their way to do something kind for somebody and chronicle it and share that with everybody else. And hopefully it inspires more
to pay it forward.
Acts of kindness. Exactly. Yep. So that is a good project to have. And that, once again, that was last week. That is in the courtyard. You don't see that from the front of the building. It is in the center of the building, but a very nice courtyard area that a lot of people may not know is there. It's right off the commons. You need to take a look at that next time you're up at an event at the high school. When you're walking through to the gymnasium, through the commons area where the cafeteria is. We would call it the cafeteria in the old days. They call it the commons, because it's a seating area and performance area as well as an eating area. But it has the four-way test there, and the four-way test is something that whether you need a Rotarian or not, you can follow. And it's a four-way test of ethical behavior. And if everybody followed this, the world would be a better place. So let's share it. Is it the truth? We're not against the truth, are we? Is it fair to all concerned? It should be, shouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? That's a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. And the fourth thing, will it be beneficial to all concerned? So it sounds simple, but if you practice those four things, you'll be a pretty good person.
There you go.
So that's what's happening with the Jackson Rotary Club. Also coming up this weekend, and I know we'll talk about this a little bit more maybe later in the week, the Oak Hill Festival of Flags. And I was working on a preview story for our paper. I'm still working on it. So, as soon as we're done, I got to go back and do that. But the Oak Hill Festival of Flags is celebrating its 30th anniversary year. I remember when it started. I was sitting at the committee meeting when they started it.
Oh, man.
Dan Brisker, who is still around, retired Wellston superintendent, but Oak Hill native and lives in Oak Hill now. He was the one that got it started. He was jogging. I know this story because I'm almost as old as Dan. He was jogging one day. He was a fitness guy, probably still is, jogging around the streets of Oak Hill, and he thought, Oak Hill needs some kind of festival because they didn't have one. They had a 4th of July celebration, but no real festival like the Apple Festival in Jackson or the Ohilco Festival in Wellston.
Right.
And he thought about the 4th of July, but there was already the 4th of July boosters thing. And he wanted to do something with flags that was patriotic.
Love it.
And so they ended up doing this festival on Memorial Day.
Yep.
And one of the side things to that was the guiding things on why they started it was, of course, this fell by the wayside. It was to try to save the old Central School. That was an old elementary school in the center of town where Central Memorial Park is now, by the way.
That's right.
And there were some preservationists who wanted to save that building. And they thought if we have a festival, we'll raise attention to it. Some of the events were held at that school. And as it turned out, they couldn't save it because, the building was old
Yeah,
and
sometimes
they just
too little,
couldn't, they
too
just
late,
couldn't find a use
unfortunately.
for it or whatever. So it ended up being torn down, which was sad in a way because that's part of the history, like Kinnison and Jackson.
I know.
However, there's that beautiful park there now in its place. But the Oak Hill Festival of Flags, look at the schedule. I'm not sure I can ever remember as packed schedule as they have this year.
Man, it is crazy.
There is entertainment every day.
Yes.
They're going to have all sorts of events all the way through, starting on Friday and going through Monday. And Monday, they pack more into Monday than they usually do. It's kind of like a shutdown day with a couple of token events. But now they've got a car show and a motorcycle show as well that day.
Pancakes.
And karaoke in the afternoon, which always draws a crowd. So obviously, we are going to be covering that. We'll have some good preview material, including the schedule and an overview story, pictures of most of the entertainment acts. We'll have all that in our Wednesday edition.
Awesome.
And somehow, with all the things going on this weekend, we'll get good festival coverage as well. I know our radio crew will be down there broadcasting live as well.
Very, very good. The Queens will be here tomorrow. Yes. Is that what you said?
Festival of Flags Queens will be
yes, they'll be
right,
here tomorrow.
And of course they'll be the way that Oak Hill Festival of Flags do it, like many other festivals. The transition period comes during the festival. The pageant for the new royalty will be on Saturday, and they will crown them later on Saturday and announce them. They'll be in the headlines for sure over the weekend. The new royalty will, and if you want to take a gander at the girls who are running for Festival Royalty in Oak Hill, we'll have them in the paper on Wednesday.
There you go.
In color.
In color. All right. Hey, Pete, let's take a second here, if you don't mind, and hear from some of our friends from the Vinton County National Bank, and then we'll be back with more news.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
All right, and we are back. And of course, with our good friend Pete Wilson, and covering some local news, and there is a ton of it, Pete.
There is, and it's good stuff. It's good stuff. We like to filter in some of that. The newspapers get criticized for, you guys want to cover the bad news.
Yes.
Well, we're going to try to cover it all. I promise you that. Not try to avoid the bad news, but certainly celebrate the good news as well.
Who doesn't want to kick off summer with Memorial Day and all of that stuff? So It might not be officially summer, but it's the unofficial start of summer.
It is. That's how people look at it, I think.
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend is a bowl of potato salad, if you want to use a metaphor.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think the weather does look like it's going to be good this weekend. That's
so good.
That's kind of in advance a little bit, so we'll cross our fingers.
Yep.
But speaking of flags and Memorial Day, the Wellston Rotary Club is doing their Field of Heroes. This will be the third year, and man, has that turned out to be successful. First of all, just as a sight thing, it is very impressive. It is on the old Wellston High School lot. That is on South Pennsylvania Avenue and 6th Street. And that is a picture from last year that Jeremiah Shaver took. And I wanted to show that picture for two reasons. First of all, I wanted to promote the Field of Heroes, which the Rotary Club in Wellston does over the Memorial Day weekend. But also, that picture won first place in the state newspaper contest.
It did. You're right.
It did. And
such a good
and
picture.
Paul Howler, of course, the judges didn't know this, but Paul Howler, of course, is a veteran.
Yes.
And so this meant really a lot to him to be part of this ceremony. But the Field of Heroes is basically a display of flags where the donor can sponsor it in the name of a hero. It doesn't necessarily have to be a veteran or a person who's deceased. It can be a family member. It can be a hometown hero, a policeman, law enforcement officer, firefighter, longtime community person. You can do it in anybody's name.
Everybody's a hero to somebody,
and
right?
When there's that many sponsors, it is, quite a sight to see. I mean, truthfully, if you can find the time to, if you don't live in Wellston, if you can find the time to drive there on Pennsylvania Avenue by it, it is worth the time it takes to take a look. And of course, park your car and walk through there and see who some of the people are that are getting honored. The setup this time will be that the flags will be on display from Friday, May the 26th, until Wednesday, May the 31st. And there will be a opening ceremony at noon on Friday and a closing ceremony at 9 a.m. on Monday. Now, the display, though, will stay up through the following Wednesday. So you have plenty of time to see it. The sponsorships are still available. They'll still take them. I know they've already had plenty, but they'll still take them. All you need to do is contact one of the committee members, or you can go, you can pick up a form at the Rusted Barn in Wellston, and you can also check out the Wellston Rotary Club's Facebook page. We have a story. We've had other stories already about the Field of Heroes. We'll have an updated story that will include how to be a sponsorship it's already online, as a matter of fact. It'll be in Wednesday's paper as well. But there's different levels of sponsorship, anywhere from $50 to as much as $1,000. And they retain these flags. And so, the field of flags keeps getting bigger every year. And of course, they add new sponsors every year as well. So once again, that is this weekend in Wellston. It dovetails very well with Memorial Day. As a matter of fact, the closing ceremony at 9 o'clock on Friday, it will be followed by the Memorial Day Parade, which is done by the Legion in Wellston. But, they've scheduled and organized it, so it's a coordinated situation. Okay, a big thing in Jackson on Saturday. Don't know whether you've ever been there to it, but it is a wonderful event. Sad in one way, but celebratory in another.
It is.
And that is the Cooper Strong 5K. And, 5Ks have become very popular, both as competitive events and as fundraisers. There's some big ones in Jackson County, but I'm telling you, there isn't a bigger one than the Cooper Strong 5K. I mean, there's been as many as 200, 300 people participating, or at least paying to participate, which that's what it's all about. It's to raise money in honor of the late Emily Cooper. Emily Cooper, of course, the member of the prominent Cooper family there. She is a lovely, lovely girl. So tragic that we lost Emily back in 2016 in an automobile accident. Emily was a 2012 graduate of Jackson High School, was one of the valedictorians, and a truly outstanding athlete that came through Jackson High School, played different sports. Softball may have been her best. She went on to Marshall University. That's a Division I college, of course, Division I university. I think she was the captain of the softball team there. She finished college at Marshall University, got hired at Jackson to be the softball coach, and then before she could coach was that horrible accident that took her life. Her aunt, Kalina Cooper Snyder, started the Cooper Strong 5K that very year. Always has it on Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, and that is when it will be again. It will start at 8 o'clock, the race. You can register as early as 7 o'clock. You can also pre-register online as well. But that money goes to the Emily Cooper Fund. The Emily Jo Cooper Memorial Fund is what it's called. And I think that they've done scholarships, but mainly they pump money right back into athletics, particularly the women's softball
into the softball program. Sure,
I know
very fitting.
Some of the money that they've used has been used for that hitting barn that the girls now have up there, which is so important to the program. But it is really touching the way that they are able to kind of combine a celebration with a memory too of Emily. And that's certainly, they feel that's what she would have wanted, not only to be memorialized, but to know that her example, her inspiration is doing good things even after her death. So that is really something to see. Even if you don't want to participate, go down there and see all those people that line up there at Vaughn Street by the middle school. And then it ends up, this is neat, it ends up on the softball field at home plate. That's the finish line.
Got to do that dreaded high school hill.
Exactly. You have to do, I mean, if you just walk that
Dude, I'm telling
it'll
you.
get you. It keeps getting longer as you go up.
That's the thing. The high school hill is just a sick and twisted thing because you get halfway up it and you think I got this thing licked, and then it gets worse.
Right, and then
You
you even see it starting to level off, and then you go, suddenly your shoes become heavy.
Yes.
Do I have ankles? Do I have weights on my ankles?
It's bad. I hope there's someone up here to resuscitate me when I get to the top. Yes, it is. It's something.
All right. But speaking of the weekend, of course, the Wellston High School graduation and the Jackson High School graduation are this weekend. We'll be covering those closely, just like we did the Oak Hill and Vinton County graduations. The Wellston graduation is set for 6:30 p.m. in the high school gymnasium. The honor students, the top of the class, they call them, are Shayla Rice and Grace Plummer. Congratulations to both of those young ladies. And the Jackson High School graduation ceremony commencement is set for 8 p.m. at Alumni Stadium, which of course is a big venue. Everybody can fit in there, obviously. And there will be 4 honor graduates speaking for Jackson High School and their classmates. So big weekend at both Jackson and Wellston with the graduations on Friday night. We have, of course, I know we've covered this before. We want to remind everybody a lot of alumni stuff coming up this weekend.
A lot of it.
In Jackson and Wellston. The Jackson alumni will be at 5:30 p.m. down there at the middle school. The oldsters call it the old high school to them. That's what it is. And that's a good nostalgic place to have it. Plus, they've got the auditorium, of course. But it will be very big this year. The classes of 1970, 71, 72, and 73 will be honored. Usually it's the 50-year anniversary class.
Well,
but when COVID-19 wipes you out for 3 years in a row, you are celebrating 4 years in a row. They'll also do the Hall of Honor beforehand. And the 2020 inductees who've never been inducted because of COVID will finally be inducted.
Okay.
And they are the late Dick Berry, Jim Reynolds, and Pete Wilson.
Yay, Pete Wilson! Woo! And congrats to everyone else as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. And of course, John Sylvester will posthumously be honored at the Wellston alumni. Of course, he was a rear admiral.
Just
in the U.S. Navy.
It's fine. Just a little thing like that.
And as John Pelletier was here last week, that is a big deal at Wellston. They honor the 50-year class too. And Susie Emmert, who is from the class of 73 at Wellston High School, she will be the Toastmaster. So we have all this stuff online. We've had it in the print editions multiple times, but just don't want you to forget about the alumni. It doesn't have to be an anniversary year. You don't have to be the class president or whatever to go. This is a great opportunity to see old classmates and alumni from all the years.
That's exactly right. Lots of fun.
It tends to be an older crowd, but it really doesn't have to be that way.
No,
at both places.
I know our so my 30th class reunion would be this year, and it's so funny to read the comments of people as we have our a Facebook page, and it's like, are you kidding me? This is not right. Like, or no. But Dylan, I have something to say to you.
Yep.
You need to be very nice to your mother. She's having a hard time with this graduation thing. We had a discussion yesterday. So give her a hug and tell her you love her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she might return it.
And she might return it.
Right. But the time
she said, I just don't know about this.
I know, but like I said, it's
my baby's all growing up.
Yeah, it's hard for the parents too.
It is.
It really can be.
Hard.
I kind of did not look at it from that angle. But the Jackson High School alumni is 5:30 at the middle school. The after party is known as The Happening. That's at 8 p.m. at the Parks Edge Event Center. In Wellston, the alumni activities will all be at Wellston Middle School. It will start at 5 p.m. with a full dinner buffet. Then the program will start at 6 p.m. And the cost of the tickets there are $20 because it includes the meal. And the Wellston High School alumni banquet tickets are on sale at Brodigan Sports and Trophies. In Jackson, the alumni program, which does not include a meal, that's free.
Yes.
The Happening does include a buffet, a snacks buffet, and the cost there is also $20, provided that you get it in advance.
Yep.
If you go up at the time, they will sell you a ticket, but for $25, it'll be an extra $5, and it is And if there is a problem with enough food, you're out of luck.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
you didn't reserve. But, they're trying, I guess that there is at least 200 pre-sales already for that event.
Very
which you
good.
would figure because it's been a while since there's been an alumni celebration.
Sure has been.
Okay, looking back, Armed Forces Day last Saturday, the Armed Forces Day picnic that they had at Manpower Park.
Yes.
Didn't look so good in the morning, did it?
No, it
was raining. I looked over there, and they had some of the tents up, and some of the guys were in their uniforms.
You're like, oh no!
I thought, is this going to happen? Well, they stuck in there, and it turned into a decent day. And they had, I'm sure it would have been more if the weather would have been better earlier, but they had a decent attendance as well. So congratulations to all those veterans organizations and those spearheads,
For sure.
Greg Roseberry and everybody who made that happen, because it gave a free meal to veterans and their families. It didn't matter whether they were from Jackson County or not. Just a good celebration for the Armed Forces Day that just wasn't centered around a holiday like Veterans Day or Memorial Day. This was a fun event. So we will have coverage of that. Alex Shope was there. We're also going to have coverage of the Hope Week held by the Life Source Apostolic Church.
Very
Jeremiah
cool.
Shaver was there. That was a 3-day event in Wellston. So we'll be covering that as well here in an upcoming edition. We just got to figure out how to get all the work done. But the Marquet Cultural Arts Center, we don't want to lose that in the shuffle. They started a new exhibit on the first Thursday in May, which was May the 4th. And the exhibit is by Pamela Conley. Pamela, I really need to go see this myself. I was not there that Thursday evening.
Super cool stuff.
But her exhibit is called Before They're Gone, and it is about endangered wildlife.
Yes.
And drawings, paintings, I'm not sure one or both. That is what her exhibit is. And she basically did this not only because she's an artist, but because she, wants to save wildlife.
Yeah, absolutely.
And bring attention to that. But this exhibit will be up throughout the month of May. Gallery hours at the Marquet, 269 East Main Street in downtown Jackson, are 12 p.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. And this will go through the entire month. And, when you go into the Marquet Gallery, it is free. Even if you're in there for another event, a paid event in the auditorium, you can still go in the gallery there.
Yeah, for sure.
For free. So you definitely want to do that.
You can double dip.
Right. I tell you, one thing there's Pamela Conley right there. Congratulations to her on being in the spotlight at the Marquet Cultural Arts Center. Okay, this is kind of, I know, a wistful thing for a lot of people who hold St. Peter and Paul School dear.
Oh, yes.
Of course, it is ticketed to close at the end of this school year, which is this week, I think. Mm-hmm. And they are going to have an event, and the event is entitled Pack the Pews. It is a Pack the Pews service that will be at the church on Wednesday morning. That's Wednesday, May the 24th. It'll be at 8:30 a.m. All past faculty, staff, family, students, and supporters of St. Peter and Paul Catholic School are encouraged to attend. It will be held at the school because, the school and the church are there side by side. And I didn't realize it was at the school, but that's what it says here. So, So it'll be at the school, and anybody who you don't have to be a current student or parent or whatever to go, or a Catholic even. If you want to show your support for the school and in a worshipful setting, honor what St. Peter and Paul School has been to Wellston and Jackson County, this would be the time to do it. I think they'll have a very good turnout.
I think you're right.
I know there's been efforts behind the scenes to try to influence that decision.
Yeah.
But as far as I understand, that decision made earlier in the year at the highest levels of the diocese in Columbus to close the school, very sad. That school goes back more than 100 years.
It's rough. And those poor kids,
Highly thought of in Jackson County.
Absolutely.
Kind of a magnet school.
It is. And, you think about them having to start over again, in a new school. That's rough.
It is.
It's hard being a kid, let alone having to do that.
Right. Of course, St. Peter and Paul goes through grades 1 through 8, but really had a pretty good enrollment at the elementary level, of course, the younger kids. And the reason given directly or indirectly for the closure is financial. Of course, tuition based, and enrollment has declined in recent years. So anyway,
I don't know.
We will see what happens there.
It sucks.
Right. Well, I know that the people in the church and people who have sent their kids to that school, once again, you don't have to be a Catholic to go to that school.
Right.
Are very sad
They
about
are.
the loss of this school. All right, in Oak Hill at the library on Thursday evening, this was on, it was off, and now it's back on. So it's a program called Ancient People in the Oak Hill Area, and it is a program.
No, James, it's not for your dad.
It was. Hey, now it was a. This is more ancient than that. This is a program done in conjunction with the sesquicentennial in Oak Hill. All right, because it has a history thing, has a history angle. But Dr. Jonathan Jeb Bowen, who is an archaeologist with the Clark May Museum in Circleville, will be there to discuss the ancient people that lived in the Oak Hill area and Jackson County way before we were here.
That's pretty cool.
Right. And remember, sometimes,
all joking aside, it's pretty cool.
Sometimes when we study history, there is a deficit on the local history side.
Yeah.
So this is going way back before Bob Irvin even.
Oh my.
So we'll that would be a nice one to attend, whether you're a history buff or not.
For sure.
All right. On the sports side, Dan Morrow and I were over at Ohio University for the Jackson Ironmen and the Washington Courthouse Blue Lines. This was a big assignment. Washington Courthouse had only lost one game all year. They had already beaten Jackson twice. And even though Jackson won 7 in a row, could they beat Washington Courthouse? Well, we didn't know until 2 hours and 15 minutes because that's how long it took for somebody to score a run.
You're kidding.
The Blue Lions, it went 7 innings. 7 innings, that's regulation high school baseball, 0-0. Finally, in the bottom of the 8th inning, Washington Courthouse scored a run to win 1-0.
No.
So Jackson finishes 20-6, a young team, outstanding season. Washington Courthouse with some seniors on their team.
Yep.
They were expected to be very good. Maybe even make a run for the state tournament. They are 24-1, only have lost one game. They defeated Jackson this year 3 times, 3-0, by a total of 6 runs in 3 games.
And this Jackson team just excelled, I think, beyond anybody's wildest imagination. So good for them. Right.
And, the pitchers for Jackson were great. The run that scored, unfortunately, the only error of the game, that's how the first guy got on for Courthouse. They were able, give them credit, they were able to bunt the runner over to second. He got the third, and then with 1 out, they did what they call a suicide squeeze. That is where the runner from third is coming in as soon as the ball is pitched, and the batter better get a bunt down or the guy's going to get tagged out at home. Well, he got the bunt down, and Courthouse ended up winning the game 1-0. So great season, though, by Coach Josh McGraw and his Ironmen. We still have one team left in the tournament, only one, and that's the Oak Hill Oaks baseball team.
Okay.
They are playing tonight. Also at the same place, Bob Wren Stadium on the Ohio University campus. They will be playing an old rival, the Minford Falcons, in a district semifinal game. And the team split during the regular season. Oak Hill has only lost 6 games, I think, all year. Ryland Sams, who is one of the best pitchers in southeastern Ohio, and a valedictorian as well.
Very good.
So, it's cerebral as well as that strong right
there
arm.
You go.
We expect him to be on the mound tonight.
Okay.
That's up to Coach Jason Wright, but whenever they can, they pitch Ryland Sams for obvious reasons. A strikeout king, almost never loses, and he is one of the reasons why Oak Hill has had one of the best baseball seasons they've had in many years.
Cool.
So that's tonight against Mitford.
Good luck, guys.
We'll be Brock Netter, one of our sports writers, will be over there covering it. Todd Thompson made the trip over to Athens on the newspaper side to cover that game. Of course, we'll have coverage of the Jackson and Oak Hill tournament baseball games in Wednesday's paper. Todd Thompson will make sure of that. We don't want to forget track, all right, because the track people are in what is their version of the tournament too.
Okay.
They had the district meets last week, and we had quite a few athletes qualify for the regional. Now, if you get to the regional and you qualify there, you're in the state track meet.
Woohoo!
It's pretty good. It's usually as an individual, not as a team. But some of the kids that we have going to the regional, I'll mention them real quick. For the Wellston girls, Kimmy Aubrey actually placed in the top 4 in 3 events in the district. So she's in 3 different events in the Division II regional track meet. Also, Riley Kilgore from Jackson qualified in the 300-meter hurdles. The 400-meter relay team, boys for Jackson, or girls for Jackson, Jade Winters, Collier Fulton, Sydney Carpenter, and Kilgore also qualified. Trent Evans secured a spot in the discus and the shot put, first and second, so he is in the regional tournament as well. And also 3 Jackson relay teams on the boys' side all qualified. So that shows the depth of the track team. J.T. Hammonds, Josh Hutchinson, Mitchell Mapes, and Mason Lanning in the 4x200. Lanning, Hammonds, Hutchison, and Eli Browerman in the 4x100 relay. And then in the 4x400 relay, Hammonds, Mapes, Browerman, and Lanning. Some of the same kids. Can't believe they're running all those relays.
Wow, that's a lot of
and
races.
Good enough to qualify in the region. A lot of times when you get into the tournament, you concentrate on what is your best one.
Right.
So you're not spread too thin.
Sure.
But in this case, those relay kids are really spread out.
Man, that's going to be a ton.
For Vinton County, their 4x800 meter relay team also qualified for the regional, as well as Matt Hembry as an individual in the 400 meter dash. And on the Wellston side, Crace Gill qualified in the 110 meter hurdles. For Wellston. For Oak Hill, they're in the Division III track meet. Ivy Gentry, a female, qualified in the long jump. She's in the regional tournament. And on the boys' side, Garrett McInnes was second overall in the 400 meter dash. He is the son of the head basketball coach, Heath McInnes. Yep. So he is also qualified for the regional meet, as did Walker Foble, who was second place in the 1,600 meter run. So we want to wish good luck to all those kids.
Good luck, everybody.
Sometimes
can't wait to see how it happens.
They compete as individuals or whatever. Sometimes maybe don't get the attention of the ball players.
Sure.
But, they have achieved as well.
Absolutely.
So there you are.
So much good going on.
I am sorry I didn't give you any bad news, did I?
I'm not going to argue with that, Pete.
Okay, I'm not either. It's not often that we can do that.
No, it's not. All right. Well, don't forget Memorial Day weekend coming up. Some graduations, some alumni events. So there's a lot to look forward to, and Monday off too, a little bit, except for if you're Pete Wilson and the news staff.
Unfortunately, it is the busiest weekend of the year. It is. But I underscore good stuff.
Good stuff. You're right. Fun stuff to cover. So,
right.
All right. Well, have a wonderful day, everyone. We appreciate you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegramnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Vinton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegramnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegramnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegramnews.com.
Check it out.